Hello everyone, Inventor719 here, and in today's video I am going to be showing you guys how to make this very cool airsoft gun made out of a lighter. It is spring powered and fires 8 shots, semi-automatic technically. So if you like this video, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and go hit the subscribe button down below so I know to make more videos like this in the future. Now I'll give you guys a quick shooting test, but do the real shooting test at the end. So basically I'm going to go ahead and load a bullet into the barrel there, and then load the gun back, and then fire. There you go. Stay tuned for the rest of the shooting test at the end of the video. Alright, so what you'll need for this video is mostly tools and very few supplies actually. We will need a drill, a skill saw like this one here, scissors, drill bits for your drill. They may be size dependent on whatever your specific parts are, but I have a 21/64, a 1/4, and I can barely read it, but I think it's a 5/32. Again, may change on your build specifically. You're going to need a lighter. I have one of these clear types. As you can see, this one's already broken, but you can use a completely empty broken lighter for this video. A few pens. You'll need 2 spring-loaded pens, one really cheap, one of those advertising pens, and a permanent marker, along with a file, and of course your airsoft BBs. So the first step will be to make our lighter into just a shell. Now first make sure it's empty of gas by either pushing the button or pulling up on this little metal thing here. As you can see, my lighter is completely empty. Now I'm going to go ahead and put it in a vise because I have access to a vise, but if you don't, you may not need it, because the next step is to cut off the head of the lighter, which I am going to be doing with my skill saw here. So just back from the black part right about there, let me zoom in so you can see. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it straight in half. So after using the file, you can see we have basically just the empty lighter tube. Now this is going to be an airsoft gun used for 6mm BBs, and the inside of the lighter housing, as you can see, is split down the middle. Each side is slightly smaller than 6mm, and basically we want one to be the magazine, as you saw earlier on my purple gun, and one side to be used for the barrel. So what we're going to do is drill it out using our drill. I'm going to be using the either 1/4 inch or something slightly bigger on one side, and then we will be using this pen for the barrel on the other side. So again, I have found a drill bit that is slightly bigger than the diameter of the pen, and I'm going to be using that one to drill out the other side. So let's go ahead and do that. So there's my red one drilled out. As you can see, there's a much bigger hole right here, and then this one's just for BBs. But a side note, when drilling plastic, you got to be very careful. Start it using the drill bit going very fast actually, so it has a less likeliness to grab, because as you can see, mine chipped. It'll still potentially work, but as you can see, my first prototype I did not chip at all, so it is possible, just got to be very careful. Next up, we're going to make the firing mechanism, and that's one thing I forgot on the checklist at the beginning. You're going to need a bolt. This one I think is around an 8/32 bolt or equivalent, and 2 nuts that go on the end. Not one, you need 2 for sure. So what you're going to do is find a drill bit that is slightly larger than the bolt and will allow it to slide freely through the hole. And then on the same side as the big hole you drilled for the barrel, as you can see, mine's on the bottom. At the very back of the gun, you're going to drill a hole right there. I'm going to use the vise instead. So next up, you're going to take apart these 2 ballpoint pens. You can do as many as you want, but the more springs or the heavier the springs, the better. I just chose pens because most people have them kicking around their house. Maybe we'll start with 1 spring for the demonstration, but if you want to do 2, it's pretty easy as well. You can either stack them or twine them together. Anyway, so there's my bolt with a spring on the end of it. And now you're going to go ahead and test to make sure it fits in the drilled hole, which mine does. But let me show you a quick trick in case it doesn't. So when building my prototype, the bolt did not fit so well in my lighter assembly, and also your bolt has to fit down the tube of a pen. So if it's too big, as you can see, I put it in a drill and then got a file out here and just spin the drill. As you can see, it leaves some metal behind on the file, and do that as much as you need, and that will take down the diameter of the head of the bolt. So to continue building the firing mechanism, basically drop it down the larger hole, and it should just protrude out that smaller hole you drilled at the back. And then by pulling it down, hold it with your finger, grab your 2 nuts, put 1 nut on, which would work, but the problem is it would always spin. So the second nut is going to be used as our jam nut. Spin it on as well, then thread them together and tighten them up, and then they should both stay nice and tight just like that. So lastly, we're going to make the barrel out of one of these pens here. So simply take apart the pen by just ripping everything off, and then this little end cap at the end, be careful because we are going to reuse that. I like to use a pair of scissors and just pop it out like that. So set that guy aside for now. And here is essentially our barrel with a nice inner diameter of almost the exact same size as an Airsoft BB. And if you drilled your hole nicely, the barrel should slide just in your lighter container like that. And so since we want to make it semi-automatic, as you can see, well, usually there should be plastic there if I didn't break it, but as you can see, there would be a nice little hole for BBs to roll into there. So using your permanent marker, mark it. Just, it's hard to do on camera a little bit, but mark it kind of like that. And then using a drill, you're going to go ahead and drill that out. When you're done, it should look something like this. As you can see, I drilled the hole out big enough for an Airsoft BB. And then when you slide the barrel back in, be careful because obviously it's now weaker at that spot, and line it up. You should have a nice little entry hole for all your Airsoft BBs. So the last step is to grab that pen end cap that we set aside earlier, and I just cut it down with some scissors. Sorry, it's rolling around here. So there it is there, not pretty, but it'll work. And then that's basically used to plug the end of the quote-unquote magazine. It's not a perfect fit because, of course, this barrel cracked, but there's a nice little exploded view per se, so it should sit at the end there. This one works a lot better because it's not broken. It should sit at the end there, but still have enough room for a BB to pass by to go into the barrel through that hole you made right there. So a last test to do is to make sure your firing mechanism moves smoothly and quickly, just like that. Now we're ready to load it up and do some shooting tests. So to load it up, I've taken out that little plug. We're going to go ahead and pour BBs in. Should hold about 8 of them. That should do for now. Then put the little plug in the end. But if it doesn't fit perfectly, I thought we could potentially use an elastic. Push it over the end and around the back of the gun. And then all you have to do is make sure that BBs can still travel. Sorry, it's really hard to see. There's one just escaped into the barrel there. And then to fire, of course, just pull back these 2 nuts and release. So here we go with the shooting test. I've got one loaded in the barrel. Pull it back, shoot that concrete, just like that. And then tip it upside down pretty much, over like this. I think I got a few in there, so shotgun style, here we go. Pull it back again, and fire 3, 2, 1. Just like that. And I just had a pretty cool idea. This is spur of the moment. How about we put the elastic on the back of the nuts. Go ahead and load a BB or 2 or 3 in the barrel again. Elastic on the back of the nut. Pull it back. Fire in 3, 2, 1. More powerful for sure. You obviously may not have been able to see them come out the barrel, but they obviously did because now my magazine is empty. Unfortunately, the thing on the front popped off, but that's not a big deal. That's just because I moved the elastic, and this one's a little too big. But yes, there's that invention. I'd say it works pretty well. I wanted to get a good working invention video up because, as some of you may know, my last two were close but not quite, so I'm happy to show you guys a fully working invention to build. Again, if you like this video, please be sure to smash that like button and give me a subscribe as well. Maybe reach 300,000 this year, that'd be pretty cool. Anyway, thanks for watching. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe.